Hi, it's Ramesha here with Vocal Bliss. Today I would like to talk a little bit about pitch. I had a very interesting conversation yesterday with one of my students. We were watching a video of his performance and we were noticing some pitch issues, and so we talked about what really we can do to improve our pitch. You probably had the experience of singing a song in front of a group of people and you feel like you're singing with good pitch, but then later you get the feedback that actually your pitch wasn't as great. And when you listen, if there's a recording of it, when you listen to it, you realize, oh, I thought I was singing more on pitch and my pitch is all over the map. And we're talking maybe small things, but kind of consistently. And so I would like to address that, there's a vast number of reasons why our pitch may not be good, but I want to focus on a couple of them. One of them is pretty obvious and simple. You don't have vocal training. If your voice is not trained, even if you have the most accurate musical pitch, musical ear, your instrument may not be capable of hitting the notes right on where you want them to be, simply because the mechanics are not there. And so you want to hit a certain note, but what comes out is actually slightly different because you don't have mastery over your instrument. So that's a pretty obvious one, and it's one that obviously the solution is to get vocal training so that what you hear can be exactly reproduced by your instrument. And then there's another one that is a little sneakier because it's probably closer to the example I gave of if you have the experience of singing in front of people and then realizing later that your pitch wasn't quite as good, which is the ear is not yet trained to really exactly match intervals. Intervals are the distance between notes. So for example, if I sing an arpeggio, okay, simple thing, right? And yet, you'd be surprised how many people are not really able to hit these notes right on. It's close, it's the ballpark, but it's not right on. And so, what I suggest you do, and this comes from my experience of being trained as a violinist. I'm actually a professional violinist. I graduated at the conservatory in Italy, and that was my main instrument that I learned. And as you probably know, the violin doesn't have frets, so you like the guitar, those bars that tell you where to put your fingers. So you have to really learn by listening intently to the pitch, and gradually your hand learns what distance these notes are supposed to have from one another. Well, guess what? Singing is very, very similar. You don't have fingers, but you have muscle memory that you develop in your throat for each of the notes. So when you sing a note and then you sing another note, you want to pay attention to the feeling you get in your throat from one position to another, because that will help you over time to really sing these notes on pitch. And the other part of this is, which is very related to what I did in learning violin, since you have to use another instrument that has good pitch to help you build your own pitch. So, for example, if you use a keyboard that has, good pitch, especially electronic keyboards, they're supposed to do that, and try to, as best as you can, when you sing the notes, could be just a scale, and I'll demonstrate in a moment what I mean, and try to match as perfectly as you can the notes that you hear. Not the pitch that you think they should be, but the pitch that you're actually hearing, because that's where the problem lies. You have a certain pitch in your ear that may not be completely accurate, and so you have to change it a little bit. And you change it by listening what the instrument is doing and reproducing those sounds as perfectly as you can. So this is what I mean. I'm going to use my little harmonium. This is an Indian instrument that has, I use this because it's a sustained sound. So if you use a keyboard, I suggest you use a keyboard that has like an organ sound or something that is held and not like a piano that decays after a few seconds, okay? And so, for example, if you sing a scale, major scale, and try to really listen carefully and match as closely as you possibly can, match that sound. See, that's not quite there. Try to really go as close as you can. Do it a few times and then do it a little faster. And then if you have a song that you're working on, play the notes of that song and make sure you match exactly these sounds. And you'll notice that you think you're singing on pitch, but you're actually not quite as close. And so don't be afraid if you do it and you think, well, but how do I know if I am matching it or not? Well, you may not know if you're matching it perfectly, but just the attempt of trying to match it over time will improve your ear to the point where you'll become more and more picky, and then you'll get closer and closer to the exact pitch. So this is something that I discovered in reflecting back how I learned to play violin, like I said. And I actually put together a whole course of this on how to develop your musical ear to sing on pitch. And so if you're interested in checking it out, there's a link in the description that you can go check out. This is a whole training course just to develop your ear and your pitch. And so that will certainly take care of it. But it requires some work. It requires some consistent work, and also to be a little bit, to go into this kind of work unbiased and without prejudice and say, okay, I am willing to be proven wrong in my pitch. And so I'm gonna listen to these notes carefully and try to really match them. So I hope this is helpful. If you don't know how to play a keyboard, you can find apps online, you can find recordings of scales online where you can do this, but it's very, very simple. And all you have to do, you can maybe record it ahead of time and then use the recording to do the singing. So you don't have to worry about playing notes and singing at the same time. But like I said, you will find a gazillion exercises like this in the course I mentioned. So give it some time, give it some work, because it will take work. And you'll see that if you do it well, your musical ear will improve. And in the beginning, you might be a little scared because all of a sudden you hear more things. And so it seems to you like you're getting worse. But what it is that your ear is actually getting really, really sharp. You can actually catch everything. I have to admit that often for me, listening to singers is a little painful because I hear everything and my ear is trained to do that. And so it's hard for me to find, unless they're very good singers, to find people who sing and I can actually enjoy. Otherwise, it's like, ooh, that's sharp, ooh, that's flat. And it's a little bit of a blessing and a curse. But in what we're talking about, it's very, very helpful, because then I get very picky with myself, sometimes too much with my students. But that's how you really develop good pitch. And it makes everything sound and feel so much better, obviously, because everything is clear, everything is crisp. And so it just puts you in a state of openness and receptivity as a listener when somebody sings like that. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.